What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? You might be thinking to yourself, what is this? It's the offseason. Fantasy football is not happening. Fantasy football is always happening. It never goes away. But I'm out here recording an episode, talk about the fantasy implications of the wild NFL trade period. I mean, it's always trade, except for the trade deadline. But anyways, free agency opened up, and there's been a lot to talk about. So anyways, I got to shout out my boss's boss real quick, Corbin. He gave me this idea. He said, when's the episode dropping? And I said, what? He said, the podcast episode. And I said, oh, a podcast episode. And I'd been able to connect two dots because the Tyrek Hill trade had just broken. The news had just broken that Tyrek Hill got traded to the Dolphins. So anyways, he gave me the great idea to record an episode. I would have never thought about it. But here we are in the offseason, March. The fantasy leagues are going to be resetting in April, so you can start doing your mock drafts. So I just want to make sure you're getting all the good fantasy information that you're going to need for those mock drafts in a month. Obviously, still plenty of time for more free agency moves and the quarterback carousel to go around, but just want to come on the podcast and talk about what's happened so far and the implications of it all. So we'll start out with the blockbuster from today. Tyrek Hill, now at the Dolphins. For me, his stock drops, I don't know, easy 10%, 10 points, because the Dolphins are just not, they're not quite there. And obviously they're getting the pieces put together to try to be more there. But I am not a believer in Tua turn the ball over. I think he's average. And he will get the ball to Tyrek Hill. No doubt. But there's no shot Tyrek Hill has the season like he did this past year or last year. I mean, last year I think he was the number one wide receiver. I don't know, something. He was fantastic. You know, he's been fantastic. The worst year he had was within the past 4 or 5 years or so was probably 2019, because I think I had him on my fantasy team then, and I was just sitting there thinking to myself, why is he not being good? So anyways, stock totally drops. I really don't think. Yeah, so ESPN says he is still a wide receiver 1 in fantasy, but it is worth noting that Tua Tagovailoa averaged only 213.5 air yards per game over the last 2 seasons. So yeah, I agree. He could still be. Well, no, I actually don't agree. I think he's wide receiver 2 now, in fantasy terms. He's wide receiver 2. I wouldn't take Hill for the first, I don't know, probably until round 5. And that's just me. I just don't believe in the Dolphins. Even though, like I said, I know they're trying to get the pieces together. And they're, like, weirdly good sometimes. But I guess they're good against bad teams. But I just don't. I mean, Can you name me a wide receiver last year from the Dolphins that had like a really breakout season? There were like a couple players that would boom every now or then, like a couple wide receivers. But I mean, Mike Gesicki was like their best target. So I guess maybe bring in Tyreek Hill. They're thinking Tua will be better, and I don't see that happening. So that was the big one today. Been plenty to go over, and I mean, it started out hot. So we'll go all the way back. Oh, I thought this was, okay, never mind. This list does not look like, oh, it might be. Okay. So Robert Woods went to the Titans. I think that drops Robert Woods' stock too. So ESPN says Woods will be a reliable target for Tannehill. I agree. But he's entering his age 30 season and will be playing an extremely heavy run scheme. Exactly. I mean, I don't know. Titans wide receivers aren't that real. You don't really need one. They're good bench players. But yeah, they're just so run heavy, and I don't see that changing. And yeah, Ryan Tannehill's good. He's got, been getting good stats, and but I mean, it's not going to be, again, after round 5. Yeah, okay, round 5 for Tyrek Hill is harsh. I'd say round 3 for Tyrek Hill, and then round 5 for Robert Woods. Russell Wilson goes to the Denver Broncos. Fascinating. And I believe the Broncos also got a wide receiver, maybe, or they traded a wide receiver, right? I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, Russell Wilson to the Broncos. Just in terms of fantasy value, here they're still saying, yeah, okay, they're saying Wilson should be valued as a QB1 with top 5 upside. I'm starting to think Wilson's washed. Don't get me wrong, I love Russell Wilson. He's been a great part of my football life for, a long time. But I'm starting to think he's just washed at this point. He's 33, which isn't horribly old, but I just don't think he's going to do it in the Mile High City. I don't think he's going to have the pizzazz. But maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I don't think he will. He will have some great targets. But then again, I mean, he had great targets in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett at Seattle. So maybe the thought is the Broncos won't be so run-heavy, won't be such a run-heavy offense. As, like Seattle likes to establish the run or whatever. But I'm still taking... I guess they did say with top 5 upside. That's just fair. But let's see. Who else? Who would I take over him? I'd probably take Kyler Murray still. I'd probably take, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. Who else is there? Stafford maybe I would take before him. Who else? Who has some other electric quarterbacks? Joe Burrow I would take before him. So I'd say his stock value doesn't change. Maybe down like 0.5%, but I mean, I don't think he's gonna. It's not like a blockbuster trade that you really need to be concerned about. Cedric Wilson to the Miami Dolphins, very similar to Tyrek Hill. Probably worse than Tyrek Hill. Not worse, but now that Tyrek Hill is there, he's got to compete. Yeah, with Tyrek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and then Mike Gesicki for targets. So it's going to be rough for Cedric Wilson. Carson Wentz to the Commanders. Not much to talk about there. We could probably pass over it. I mean, Scary Terry's value could maybe inch up. Scary Terry maybe is up 2%. I'd buy Scary Terry's stock right now. Carson Wentz stock staying average. I wouldn't buy or sell. Well, I'd maybe still sell if you have any Carson Wentz stock left. But I guess what I didn't talk about is Tua's value now that Tyreek and Cedric Wilson are there. So Tua's value. Oh, Jalen Hurts I want to add to the list that I would take before Russell Wilson. Not because I think Jalen Hurts is like a great NFL quarterback. I think Russell Wilson's a much better NFL quarterback. But fantasy quarterback, Jalen Hurts is like really good at, stat padding in the fourth quarter. So you can always count on some good points for him. And then, this is another quarterback that I would take over Russell Wilson in fantasy. Probably the second big blockbuster trade, Deshaun Watson to the Cleveland Browns. So on the Cleveland Browns, will Deshaun be as electric as he was in Houston? It's interesting because obviously, I don't know. I feel like I'm quick to discount players after they've had a huge nightmare and scandal around them. I think it's tough to come back. I mean, Kareem Hunt is still quite a good player, but just not the same. Speaking of, he's on the Browns. I guess that's the first one that comes to mind for me as an example of he was electric and then he had a scandal and then he's still good but nothing like he was. I think that's going to be similar for Deshaun Watson. I think he's an electric football player, but I don't know. I would take him. I would take him before Russell Wilson, though. To be honest, I think he'd be better. Excuse me. James Washington, the Cowboys, not a concern there. CJ Uzomah to the New York Jets. I mean, maybe you could buy into him low. Yeah. But obviously he's got Mr. INT thrown to him. Mitch Trubisky to the Steelers. All right, this one's interesting. Because obviously Trubisky, is kind of a muppet, kind of a mug. But on the Steelers, a really good organization, really well coached, really great, like they said, having playmakers like Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and Najee Harris at his disposal. ESPN's kind of harshing him, but I'm kind of buying in on Mitch Trubisky stock. I think it could be good. I don't think he's going to be fantastic, but I still, concerning the players that I just listed, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Najee Harris, I still think those guys, their value is still there. Because especially just like Deontay Johnson is just ridiculous athlete, so good. Same thing for Chase Claypool, just like this super tall guy, super athletic. I'd like Deontay Johnson a little bit better than Chase Claypool, but I guess I don't know Trubisky's passing preferences, and we'll find that out. And so, if other people are selling Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool right now, I'm buying. Najee Harris too, especially Najee Harris. Now, if Trubisky turns out to be a muppet, like he kind of was for the Bears, then they'll probably be running the ball a lot. But Steelers always like to run the ball. All right, Juju Smith-Schuster, which I just found out his real name is John, I think. Juju Smith-Schuster. What does it say? John Sherman Smith-Schuster. It's kind of a mouthful. John Sherman Smith-Schuster. John Sherman Smith-Schuster. His name is my name too. He's going to the Chiefs. And that's a great move. It's a great move. So his stock is up by 1,000%. Obviously that's like I'm looking ahead. I guess it's kind of dependent on his chemistry with Patrick Mahomes, but I think they'll have good chemistry, and Smith-Schuster's, he wants to win. He wants to catch the ball. So I think he'll be fantastic, especially now that Hill's gone. They were saying playing alongside Hill should improve his fantasy value. Now that Hill's gone, he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the man. Travis Kelce, obviously another man. Byron Pringle. Pringle's a good wide receiver, but I think... Travis Kelce, his value is going to skyrocket, or has skyrocketed. He's easily going to be a round 1 pick again this year, so take Kelce round 1. All right, Ricky Seals-Jones to the New York Giants. Not that interested in that. I don't know if this is going to list every single one, because... Okay, no, I think it lists the highlights. It lists the good highlights, so I'm just going to keep following it. Allen Robinson, the second to the Rams. Very fascinating. So Robert Woods is gone. Cooper Kupp is still going to be there, and Cooper Kupp is still going to be Matt Stafford's number 1. But Allen Robinson, after a bum year, he's probably going to be a late pick, but he's going to be, I think, a sneaky good late pick. Because, they say, quote unquote, he's only 28 years old. 28's still very decent. And I'm pretty sure he's pretty healthy guy. I think he stays very healthy. So him with Stafford tossing the ball to him, it's going to be tasty. They give him wide receiver 3 flex radar. I think I don't see why he couldn't be wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. I think a little bit higher than flex, or they're going a little low on him. I think he'll be good. Zach Pascal to the Eagles. Not excited about that. Raheem Mostert, my favorite player. I love Raheem Mostert. He I think Tyrek Hill's faster than him, but when I watch Raheem Mostert run, I'm convinced that he's the fastest human on earth. He is just electric and dynamite. So he's going to be competing for touches, which with another trade that came up, Chase Edmonds. But if Mostert stays healthy, which he struggles with, unfortunately, I figured that out the hard way. I think he'll be electric for the Dolphins. The Dolphins running backs, feel like at least, always rack up the fantasy points. So I am all in on Mostert. I'm definitely going to try drafting him again this year. I want Mostert on my team until the end of time. Christian Kirk to the Jaguars, getting paid way too much money. I would buy in on Kirk though, because he'll be the guy. He was never, the guy. He was always playing behind D-Hop or, whoever else. So him at the Jags now, even though Trevor Lawrence isn't fantastic, Trevor Lawrence, just has to take some time, I think, and he'll get better, and so Kirk will go better with him. I think this could be a good cheeky pick. Good, maybe take Christian Kirk. What do you usually take Christian Kirk? You usually take him like round 13. Maybe he bumps up to like round 9 or 10. I think that'll fit very well. Zay Jones, no comment. Duke Johnson to the Bills, no comment. The Bills running backs, they're very pass-heavy offense, so I don't know. I'd still take Singletary late round, but stray away from second. Yeah, OJ Howard, no comment. What's his face? The tight end from this year, Dynamite, that Josh Allen loved. I don't know. He's still number one. Austin Hooper to the Titans, no comment. Russell Gage to the Buccaneers, no comment. Maybe, yeah, no comment. They've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, he'll be number 3, and Brady will throw he'll enjoy throwing to Scotty Miller before Russell Gage, anyways. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, their value stays the same since Tom's come back. Evan Ingram to the Jaguars, no comment. Chase Edmonds to the Dolphins. So I would have liked that Mostert trade a lot more if Chase Edmonds hadn't gone to the Dolphins. I'm not sure how the Dolphins like to do their backfield. I know the Cardinals kind of split it up, but what's his name? James Conner got the most fantasy points, I think, right? Yeah, James Conner got way more fantasy points last year than Chase Edmonds did. So I'm not sure how the Dolphins will do. I'm not sure if they'll split it more evenly or if they'll, give more touches to one or the other. But just based on what I've seen, I like Mostert more. I don't think I've ever seen Chase Edmonds play, though, to be fair. Amari Cooper to the Browns. Now that Deshaun Watson's going to be there, I think part of my take said it best. Like, you always think Amari Cooper is going to be, the guy, but he never really is or never really breaks out. I think it's going to be the same story. I think he'll be very average. Maybe pick up a small knock and miss a couple weeks like he always does. So I wouldn't buy in on Amari Cooper. I'd take him late in the draft though. I'd still draft him, but just very late. Tyler Conklin to the Jets, no comment. DJ Shark to the Lions. Good trade. They're paying him too much, in my opinion, but a good trade. It'll be good fantasy value. I would definitely draft DJ Shark. He's had some injury problems, so he might want to be, concerned about that. But Goff, he'll get him the ball. He'll get him, decent enough flex points. Tom Brady back to the Buccaneers. Matthew's going to draft him anyways, so don't really need to talk about it. Devonta Adams to the Raiders. Now this one is another good one. I don't think Devonta Adams really drops much because Derek Carr will get the ball to him, and Devonta Adams will catch the ball. It will be a good partnership, I think. Maybe his value drops a little bit. Maybe some people are selling him because you want to have Rodgers, who is probably better quarterback than Derek Carr, but I like I like Adams on the Raiders. He's going to be dangerous, especially playing in a dome now. Doesn't have to worry about the cold late season. He's going to be dangerous. Get him. Get him early rounds. And Aaron Rodgers fantasy value. See, would I take Aaron Rodgers before Russell Wilson? Now that is a great debate. That is a fantastic debate. And I might need to get my Kimusabes on the podcast to talk about it. But would you rather... So this is a great question that I might leave unanswered. Would you rather take right now Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers? I think most people would say Russell Wilson for fantasy value because he can run. He's a little bit more mobile. He'll, get you those running touchdowns. But I don't know. In my opinion, there's always a sense of like, oh, he could just totally turn out to be a dud on a new team. Like he just might not work in their system or might not agree with their coaches, whatever. But Rodgers, I mean, without Devonta Adams, I guess I've been pretty one-dimensional this podcast. I haven't really thought outside, like, who else is getting affected by these trades. DJ Shark, I don't know. Amon-Ra Brown, maybe. I don't know. I guess there's, they're kind of one-dimensional trades, but the Devonta Adams one, lots of moving pieces. So Devonta Adams going to the Chargers could have an impact on Darren Waller. Not that big because they're kind of different, but Darren Waller won't be their only target now. And Devonta Adams will be like their number one wide receiver. And we know Derek Carr can pass. So Derek Carr's value might go up, to be honest. Because he's pretty mobile too. So I would consider taking Derek Carr. Now that I'm thinking about it, I would consider taking Derek Carr. Don't get me wrong, I'd take him late. Probably would be, like round 12. He'd be basically, you don't get Patrick Mahomes, you don't get Justin Herbert, you don't get Dak, you don't get Josh Allen, and it's like round 8, and you don't really want to take anyone at this point. There's no one else popping out at you, so just like, I'll wait a little bit longer, and then round 12 comes, and you're like, oh God, I got to take a quarterback now. So then you pick up Derek Carr, and I think that will be a fantastic value pick. Now, considering the Green Bay Packers situation, Aaron Jones, I'm thinking maybe his stock skyrockets because now they'll love passing to him. They'll want to pass to him all the time. He won't have Devonta Adams getting in the way. A.J. Dillon's value skyrockets because now they'll probably be like, well, who are we going to pass to? We have to run the ball all the time, and A.J. Dillon's going to be that guy. Aaron Rodgers, his value maybe dips. Yeah, I'd say his value dips, not by a huge amount, 3%. Still not a great fantasy quarterback, so it probably doesn't really matter, Aaron Rodgers. But obviously, they're the Packers wide receivers. Allen Lazard, I feel like they struggle with injury so much. Like Allen Lazard and the other guy they don't I don't know. They never really can stay healthy, it seems. So if they can stay healthy this year, I think Lazard and Valdez-Scantling, big numbers to come. Big numbers. Would I take them earlier than round 5? Probably no still. Probably no. But obviously I got to do a couple mock drafts, see what other people are doing, and then I can, come back and let you guys in. Okay. Let's try to knock some of these last ones out. Marcus Mariota to the Falcons. So they say ESPN says he'll end up starting some games in 2022, but most likely outcome is backing up first round rookie, which would be a complete bummer. That would be such a bummer. I love Marcus Mariota. I think he's a great quarterback. I've seen him play a couple, I love him from obviously watching him play at Oregon, just dynamite player. But in the NFL, he didn't have a great go at it at Tennessee, but I can't forget the one game that he came back and played for the Raiders, and he was just like killing it out there. not really killing it, but he was just like fun to watch. He was so fun to watch. I can't get that out of my head, and so I like Marcus Mariota, and I'm always gonna like him, and I'm gonna want him to be a great NFL quarterback. And if that's diluted, and I'm crazy for thinking that, well, call me crazy, because I want Marcus Mariota at the Falcons to blow up. I want this to be his year. He's 28. He's still young. He's hungry. And if he backs up a first-round rookie, that would be dumb. Why wouldn't they just have a first-round rookie back him up? What first-round rookie would start for the Falcons? Kenny Pickett? Maybe. But I wouldn't start Kenny Pickett first year in the NFL. Matt Ryan to the Colts, the other side of that deal. Now, this is very good for T.Y. Hilton. Was Zach Pascal on the Colts? I think so. Michael Pittman. Very good for Michael Pittman, who's an electric player. I also like Michael Pittman a lot, even though he went to Ohio State, which is a bummer, I think. Michael Pittman Jr. No, he went to USC. Okay, very good. He's not so bad then. Matt Ryan's fantasy value probably stays the same. Definitely out of the top 10. Wouldn't even consider drafting him. Leonard Fournette to stay on the Buccaneers. I'd easily draft Leonard Fournette early. I mean, 2 years ago he was dynamite. Last year he was very good. A little inconsistent, but I would still play him pretty much in flex every season. So yeah, Leonard Fournette, great value. And I think that wraps it up for the big ones. People staying put. Jameis Winston staying at New Orleans. I was all in on Jameis last year, but didn't work out, so I'm probably not drafting him. Mike Williams to stay at the Chargers. I feel like, was Mike Williams Justin Herbert's guy? Early in the season. Yeah. Mike Williams was like killing it earlier in the season and then did nothing the rest of the year. But maybe he was injured or something. But now that they're paying him, maybe he's going to be like their guy. James White to stay at the Patriots. No fantasy effect. Rashad Penny. So this is another huge Rashad Penny stock is insane right now. For me, I'm buying like 1 billion shares of Rashad Penny because Russell Wilson's gone. They don't need to let Russ cook whatever quarterback they have, which I think is going to be Drew Lock. He's just going to be handing the ball. They're going to be establishing the run the entire game. And guess who's going to benefit? Rashad Penny. Chris Carson. They say, okay, although Chris Carson's future is uncertain, I think Rashad Penny, I'm taking him RB1. I want to take Chris Carson number 1, but I don't know. He struggles with injury, and then I think he just struggles with injury. Otherwise, and they do kind of like to split touches. But Rashad Penny, I think if Chris Carson, leaves, especially oh my God, look at these numbers. Week 13 on 6.2, not great, but not bad. Good flex. And then next week, 25.8 at Houston. Dips a little bit because he plays the Rams and they're tough. Then he goes 19.5 against Chicago, 30.5 against Detroit. But that still was your fantasy football championship. If you had Rashad Penny on your team in your championship, that was great pickup. And then Arizona, 25 points, week 18. I think he's just going to keep that momentum rolling. I love Rashad Penny stock right now. I'm drafting him earlier than other people so I can get him on my team. I will always like Seattle running backs. They're always welcome on my team. And then Raheem Mostert as well. And 49ers running backs. J.D. McKissick to stay on the Commanders. No comment, really. Their backfield struggled last year. Michael Gallup to stay on the Cowboys. No comment, really. Zach Ertz to stay on the Cardinals. No comment. Even though I said I would take Kyler Murray before what's his face, there seems to be something up in the air in Arizona, and I'm not liking the taste of it. James Conner to stay at Arizona. Yep, easy high round draft pick again. I mean, you cannot deny his numbers from last year. From between weeks 3 and 14, he only dipped below 10 points one time, and that was a 7.1 game, which is still decent enough. I want James Conner, but I don't understand if Luke uses his franchise tag on him. Braxton Berrios, the Jets. Sorry, I'm not drafting a Jets player. Probably won't draft a Colts player. I'd take Michael Pittman. Yeah, I'd take Michael Pittman. So anyways, that looks like to be the big news. Tom Brady obviously is huge news, but not really for fantasy. It basically just keeps Chris Godwin and cannot remember his other. Why can't I remember him? Chris Godwin and the other guy. Sorry, the other guy. I want to say his name's like Michael something. I just read it too, but I cannot think of it right now. Anyways, their value basically just stays the same. That's all Tom Brady returning does. Like I know Matthew's going to take Tom Brady, and that's perfectly okay. Me personally, I'm not going to draft him, but he's good enough to be drafted. But I probably won't draft him. So, anyways, there it is. A little short and sweet one for you. Maybe if I've got time, I'll get the boys on the podcast and we can chat about some of the moves and what they're thinking fantasy football wise. But shout out to my to the director of engineering at my company. I don't know I think I already said his name, but just keep it private. Don't want to dox anyone. Shout out him for coming up with this idea for me and inspiring me to get on in the offseason and get working, get grinding again, get thinking about, get the gears going, get the juices flowing again. Not that they already haven't been. I've been working on my fantasy football spreadsheet, and it is an absolutely electric spreadsheet. It is fully automated. Don't have to worry about anything. All I got to do is put in the matchups, and it will do the rest for me. So got that cooked. Have a couple little tweaks here and there. Have some graphs and charts to make. But other than that, the spreadsheet is ready. 6 months in advance, the spreadsheet is ready. But yeah, can't wait for mock drafts to open back up. I'm gonna try to limit myself this year. I did way too many last year. Gonna maybe try to limit myself to like one a month, maybe once every other week, just for funsies. But you really don't get much. There's not much to do mock drafting in April, May, and June. Like, no one's really paying attention. People start paying more attention in July, and then August is when you really got to get those mock drafts in. Make sure you're getting the team that you want, or have some good expectations set of who might be available. So that is the podcast episode for now. Unless I get my boys on, which, all right, 3, 2, 1, cut there. Boys, welcome to the podcast. And if the boys aren't coming on, then this will be it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great March, end of your March. I hope you have a great Easter. Can't wait for the sun to come out some more. And can't wait to see some green in the trees and some nice flowers, hopefully, in May. All right. Bye for now. Don't forget to Okay, there we go. Don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. And don't go changing. Don't forget to hashtag it. And I'll see you when you're older.